Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw. I'm sorry, oh my God. What am I saying? Steve and Larson's Pro Wrestling Podcast is what this show is.
Yes.
Ruining pro wrestling podcast since 2014. And it says so on my shirt here, Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast. Yours says Friendo Club. That's a different channel. That's our other channel where we do our star ratings and other things. Anyways, today on the Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast. We're going to be talking about last night's Monday Night Raw Backlash Fallout, where the World Heavyweight Championship, the A title on Monday Night Raw, looks like we might have a new contender after this. The current contender is taken care of, and it's Gunther again, Larson.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. He pretty much came up to Jey Uso and said, after Saturday night's main event, I got next.
Jey Uso, listen to me. I have been champion 80% of the time in this company. I don't know what else to do. So, I would like the championship back. So, yeah, they're going back to that well, apparently.
Yeah, it seems that way. What do you think there's any chance that Logan Paul beats Jey Uso, has that title for about a month's time, not even that, 3 weeks' time, and then Gunther beats Logan Paul? Get the vocal cords up there. Get that. Get hydrated.
Get some water.
Get the
0% chance that happens.
Yeah. I agree with you. Just putting that out there. And it's going to be on the Raw. It's going to be on the Raw after Money in the Bank, the title defenses.
Oh, okay. That's what. So he said June 9th. And I was like, Phoenix, did he get the Money in the Bank date wrong or something?
No, because he has to get the date and the location wrong. Because Money in the Bank, I think the 7th in Los Angeles.
All right. Well, let me ask you this.
Sure.
Is it possible that Money in the Bank happens, and whoever wins Money in the Bank ends up going on to do, what's it called? Cashing in on that match. Would it make sense, for example, for Seth Rollins? Or maybe he sends Braun Breaker out there to get Money in the Bank, and then Braun Breaker just gives it to Seth Rollins, which I hate. I don't like. I'm just offering that up as an idea.
I suppose it's a possibility. I don't like that idea either, but I suppose it's a distinct possibility. Yeah, I think it'd be more likely if Seth is in the Money in the Bank match himself, and then maybe Braun helps him win the ladder match, as opposed to going and winning the briefcase himself and handing it over to Seth.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that's more likely. It seems like at the end of May, early June, we got a lot of things happening. There's a little bit of news here. Let's get into real quick.
Okay, cool.
This could all coincide in some way with SmackDown going back down to 2 hours. I hope.
Mm-hmm.
So thus far, we've heard basically nothing about a possible date for the WWE draft thus far. But on the most recent Wrestling Observer Radio, Brian Alvarez stated that it could happen as soon as later this month. These transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co. This is what Alvarez had to say. Quote, "But I was told it's not set in stone, but very likely at the end of this month, when they're doing that series of dates in Tampa, it's very likely there might be a draft on that weekend or that week, which will probably mean that some people are being called up. And by the grace of God, it should be Roxanne and Julia, and honestly, probably Stephanie and Kalani Jordan, but they can't call everyone up at once. But there's a reason that a lot of women were cut in the last couple of weeks, and that is because they are making room on the roster for a lot of other women to get called up." I believe this conversation happened within the context of Roxanne and Julia being on main roster so much of late.
Yeah, I mean, Roxanne and Julia, I feel like they're
basically called up at this point, yeah.
The only question is, are they going to be split because of the draft? They're sort of teased on WWE's YouTube, on social media that, they're already, I mean, if you look at how that tag match went down last night, boy, that was a pretty decisive finish there, for Rhea and Io, as it should be. You have one thrown together tag team from developmental and another thrown together tag team with two of the most powerful wrestlers in the company. The
current and previous women's world champion. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that should be not necessarily a cakewalk, but, in terms of the finish, boy, Roxanne was laid out. I was actually kind of worried. I had to rewind. I was like, did she get fucked up? But no, she took a kick, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe the kick got her, but no, she was just laying there, and Io goes and lays on top of her to make sure she doesn't get up. I thought that was kind of a weird finish. But yeah, for sure, Julia. And I feel like also, if you want to look at the men's, because with the women, there's any number of people. Stephanie 1,000% is ready, but I kind of wonder if they want to keep Stephanie around NXT to like keep the ratings solid, keep people tuned in. There's plenty of people that can be put in that spot, but not a lot of people have the appeal of Stephanie Vaquer. So I don't know that would happen now. Roxanne and Julia, certainly. If you look at the men, I think there's going to be a lot of weird, surprising call-ups for the men.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there might be some that aren't so weird, like Ethan Page, like seems kind of obvious that he'd be ready for a call-up. Trick seems well overdue for a call-up.
Yeah, but the same kind of thing happened with Braun Breaker, where he seemed like he was ready, and then they had like an extended heel run with him. And I was kind of wondering if they're going to do the same thing with Trick.
I mean, haven't they all? I don't know what the length of time has been, but haven't they kind of already done that to sort of pad time until the draft?
No, I feel like Braun was tag champs with Corbin for a while.
Yeah, it felt like forever, but I don't know if they were like, when did Braun get called up with the draft?
It was right before, I think.
Oh, was it? Okay. In any event, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Trick, it's basically time for him. And then, like, it wouldn't shock me to see, hey, you know what? It wouldn't shock me to see maybe
Lexus King.
Well, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if he stayed in NXT or if he went. I don't know about him. Yeah. Miles Bourne, he just won that Rumble, the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And now he's going to have his title shot. Wouldn't shock me to see him. No Quarter Catch Crew is not going to make it as a group to Maine. That's not going to happen.
Probably not, no.
They seem to not really care about that kind of stuff. Like Dark State might, but I feel like Dark State is sort of a long-term shield. No, I'm not saying they get called up now. I'm saying as a group, as a faction, they've got so much more time left to like figure out how to make them interesting.
They're going to be in NXT for a little bit. Yeah.
They are. Yeah. So,
So anyways, we can talk about Raw now. Back to Raw. So you got Gunther and Jay in the thumbnail. The other thing you got in the thumbnail there is this dynamic between CM Punk and Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
So Punk opened the show. You got confronted by Seth and Braun and Paul Heyman. Eventually it leads to a brawl, which sees Sami run in to make the save, as well as Jey Uso. And then pretty quickly thereafter, Punk and Sami are booked in a tag match at Saturday night's main event against Seth and Braun. And there's one segment in particular backstage where Sami is talking to Punk about, hey, can we trust each other? And is that being put out there because Sami's going to turn on CM Punk?
Man, I was parsing every single word that Sami Zayn was saying, and there's a lot of clues there. He was saying we're both very ambitious guys. Something along the lines of, I'm sure, let's see, is it verbatim here in the notes?
I don't know if it's exactly verbatim, but Chris generally gets pretty close.
Okay, so Sami says, I found it hard to trust you, but I did, and it worked out. You've got your goals, I have my ambitions, and so do you, but we'll get nothing done if they stand in our way. We work together, we can take them out. And I think there was a little bit more in that, but you look at Sami and then you look at the look on his face afterwards, and yes, it could be interpreted as just sort of, I know I didn't really convince him, but we're going to make this work. It could also be like, oh, I hope I convinced him because we're totally going to fuck him over at Saturday night's main event. And I'm going to join Seth's group. Maybe a little bit of like, hey, Seth took me out. If you take a step back and look at Sami Zayn, he wasn't at WrestleMania. I don't really know much more. I don't really know what much more there is left for him to do except to go after the world title, which I guess they can have him do with Seth, but I don't know, man. I'll put it this way. It wouldn't shock me if like Seth's group being on the same page beat Punk and Sami straight up and they stay in their same spots, kind of. Also wouldn't shock me if we had Sami Zayn join Seth Rollins.
What it should be is Sami says, you know what, Seth, I've reconsidered. I'll take the deal you're offering.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to SmackDown. I'll get the title shot. The automatic title shot against Cena after.
So Cena has R-Truth at whatchamacallit, Saturday night's main event. But then after that,
it's Money in the Bank.
Is Money in the Bank. I could see that being Sami versus John Cena. Would Sammy, but here's the problem with that kind of. Sammy screws over Punk. It would be a really interesting Sami Zayn at that point.
Yeah.
Because he sort of betrayed his own, ethics or whatever. But he's got what does he care about CM Punk? He's going to go after the title. And then it's like, are people going to be cheering Sammy? Are they going to be booing him?
I don't know, but at the same time, people are going to be cheering John Cena regardless because people are really into heel John Cena right now.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, that's a little bit premature. There's R-Truth between now and then.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to get John Cena to get the people to boo him again, that's how you do it.
Depends how it happens. If like John Cena does something that's, like beats the heck out of R-Truth and it's really violent, and he gets the crowd booing.
Yeah.
But then he takes a beat afterwards to be like, oh gosh, have I gone too far?
They'll still boo him.
I don't know.
No,
man.
they will boo him.
Because they're going to appreciate good work.
No, they'll boo him. No, you and I will be like, oh, that was interesting. Yeah. But the general crowd, are you kidding me? Oh my God. If he does something super violent to R-Truth, no, sorry, dude. No. They're not gonna cheer that.
We'll see. I'm not saying they're gonna cheer, but they're gonna be like, oh, they might temper their boos because, oh wait, what's going on here? This is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that John Cena played that thing after the credits rolled so subtly. And I still think that people will start appreciating him because he's sort of fun. But I do think that the R-Truth thing is a way to like quash that.
I don't know if it's a way to quash that or a way to put Cena in a real quandary as it relates to how far he's willing to go as a heel.
Sure. I think you can do both.
And it could be one the same, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's the quandary, that would precede him either doing something super violent or not. Yeah, it depends how it goes down.
Yeah, but I do think that that's gonna be an important story beat for a couple reasons. But I think one of the things is now people are gonna hate him even more afterwards because it's R-Truth. He's like the most loved person on the roster.
Absolutely.
So Sammy walking in against, let's say it's a hated John Cena, and he got this by screwing over the other most loved guy on the roster, CM Punk. I don't know if they would do that, if they would take that risk. I think it makes it more interesting. I just don't know that they would want the ambiguity. There's sometimes they like good guys, bad guys.
Well, I mean, the current people running creative seem a lot more comfortable with the ambiguity as opposed to.
That is, yeah. Triple H definitely. He's okay with that kind of stuff. So yeah, it remains to be seen. So coming out of Saturday night's main event, what would you put money on if you had to put money on it?
Oh, if I'm putting money on this, everybody's gonna be in the same spot, the same position they were going into it.
Because of Saturday night's main event.
Saturday night's main event, nothing huge. The hugest thing that's happened since the relaunch of Saturday night's main event happened after the show ended, and that's Kevin Owens laying out Cody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By and large, nothing huge has happened since the relaunch of Saturday night's main event. That comes to mind, at least. So I would suspect it's more of a situation where they have the match, nothing really changes. I mean, if they really want some dominoes to fall, you have Sammy turn on Punk, and I don't want Logan Paul to be World Heavyweight Champion. But given how Jay is involved in the stuff with Seth and Braun, have some sort of overbooking, not necessarily leads to Jay losing the title, but from a story, something gets advanced there as it relates to Seth, Braun, and Jay Uso. Give us something happening on the show rather than just matches.
All right, so right now, what are the matches? We got the tag match, we got the Logan Jay match.
I think those are the only two booked thus far.
Those are the only two booked right now? Okay.
I believe so.
What else? I mean, dude, there's a number of dominoes that can fall into place. Cena and R-Truth, yeah. Cena, R-Truth. So those are three.
Nia and Tiffany.
They could do Nia and Tiffany there, yeah. And they're not going to do Rhea Io this early. That's not going to be till, that might be Money in the Bank.
It might be Money in the Bank or
Night of Champions. Could be Night of Champions.
Or Night of Champions, yeah.
Yeah. Chris Kimmel says, Chelsea Green won the U.S. Championship at Saturday night. Was that the first Saturday night's main event? Or 36 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. They'll probably just add like a weird mid-card match. Like Jacob Fatu versus Jeff Cobb or something like that.
Versus Damian Priest.
Versus Damian Priest, exactly. So yeah, anyways, we are in May, which means we're in the middle of our May predictions challenge.
Correct.
And we've got the first event out of the way. It was Backlash. But here's the thing about Backlash. Not a ton of points on the board for that because we didn't have any prop bets. Cody Miles went on apparently a pretty dangerous vacation. Planes falling out of the sky and whatnot. So luckily he's still, with us and he's safe and sound, feet on the ground. And apparently is the form up already? Did he put the form up?
I have the leaderboard. Wait a second. This is weird.
Something weird about it?
Yeah, there's something weird going on here.
Okay, well, no leaderboard as of yet. At least none that Larson can interpret. However, my point was we're still in the middle of the predictions challenge, and I think there's still enough points out there with the next two events, Double or Nothing, and Saturday night's main event with all the prop bets coming up. There's enough that you can still eke out a victory here in May and get your hands on the fancy shirt and the fancy hat. I got a little graphic of it right now, and so you can get your hands on that still. If you're savvy enough at the Predictions Challenge and things fall your way, and you can get in on the Predictions Challenge by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson, clicking on the Friendo Club setup, or click join right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Either way you do it, costs $5 a month to get access to our old bonus episodes and the question threads for the shows.
Correct.
W.S. Fletcher asking if Cody went through Newark. That was the first thing I thought too, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, mess out there.
I mean, when people say don't fly through there.
Don't fly through there.
Don't fly through there.
Don't do that. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into it. So Raw kicked off with good old Phil Brooks, the music, the Living Color stuff. Makes his way out to it. He says, isn't it great to be alive in Louisville, Kentucky? That's what Cody Miles was thinking after that plane mishap. He says, I may be bruised, but but I can call this place home. I waited a few weeks and nursed a lot of hurt feelings, but I can't shake being pissed off. I got a lot of enemies. It's easier to list who I'm not pissed off at. Number one, with a big fat bullet, the person I'm most pissed off at is me, Phil Brooks. He says, I'm mad at myself. We've been here before. This isn't the first time Paul Heyman stabbed me in the back. First time, shame on you. Second time, you can't shame me. He says, I like to trust my friends. Paul smashed a ladder on my head 12 years ago, and I got a bunch of stitches. We moved past it. He says, but I thought we did. We grew and matured. At least I did. You know what? I'm sitting here thinking, Phil, CM Punk, Paul Heyman made a lot of really good points. You were just using him to get under the skin of the tribal chief. So
yeah,
come on.
I know.
Get off the old high horse. But he says, I'm also mad at Timu CM Punk, Seth Rollins. He says, what confuses me is we know how this ends. We've been down this road. Paul, you know how this ends. And I can't wait to get my hands around your fat little neck. Redundancy. Squeeze you until your eyeballs pop. And then Paul Heyman comes out. Punk is like, yeah, come on, Penguin. He says, explain to me why you did what you did and understand whatever words you choose, they're going to be your last. That comes out Seth. That brings out Seth, rather. He's with Braun, who looks snazzy in a nice suit.
Yeah.
And
Seth had a pretty cool looking on leather ensemble.
Yeah. Not quite jeans without a shirt, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, because they had the like long leather coat underneath that, leather blazer, leather pants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looking sharp.
So anyways, Seth says, he said, this man, Heyman, was your best friend, and you made his life hell, and now you're out here gaslighting all of us, making us believe that he betrayed you. You make me sick, Punk. Anyways, they go back and forth a little bit more. He says, basically, hey, Punk, or Seth, I hope you prepared your last words. No, I'm sorry. Seth says that to Punk. And then that brings down Braun Breaker. He marches down to the ring. Punk uses the line, you going to bark all day, or you're going to bite. And then he bites. He goes in there, starts brawling. Not literally, figuratively. And then
it wasn't like a Shayna Becky Lynch situation where
sadly,
Shayna,
no. That would have been kind of cool.
Bites Punk on the neck.
Yeah. So anyways, Punk is able to get Braun away. He goes after Seth. Braun catches back up, attacks him. Sami Zayn comes out of the crowd, attacks both men. Braun tosses him aside. Seth and Punk keep brawling. Braun joins in. Jey Uso slides in, takes it to Seth because they're about to blast Punk with a chair. They got the upper hand at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then Braun attacks him. Punk and Sami grab chairs and chase them off.
So then later on, sorry.
No, go ahead. You're good.
All right, later on, Seth and Braun versus Punk and Sami announced for Saturday night's main event. So backstage, Punk and Sami are chatting. Sami says, "Hey, are we good? Are we going to do this?" And Punk says, "I'm good, but I have a hard time trusting anybody right now." And Sami says, "I found it hard to trust you when we were teaming together at War Games, but I did, and it worked out for us. You got your goals, I have my ambitions, but, we'll get nothing done if they continue to stand in our way. We work together, we can take them out." So then after that, Seth's backstage, and Braun, he's having a fit. He's not happy. And Seth says to him, "They probably feel like they got one up on us. They think they have our backs against the wall. They might think they're even winning, or I underestimate them. They have no idea what I'm capable of. Braun, one more thing before you head off." And he whispers something in his ear, and then leans back and says, "And have some fun."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then we see what that fun might have been, because during an interview with Ludwig Kaiser, we hear commotion, and Jey Uso's laid out, courtesy of Braun Breaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Sami comes to his aid, and then Punk goes over, and he shoots Sami a really weird look, like he thinks he's full of shit or something. So I don't know, man. I think Phil. I think. Like I said, it wouldn't shock me if Sami turned on Punk, but it also wouldn't shock me, as you said, because of Saturday night's main event, if everything just sort of stayed
Exactly.
the same. So we'll find out come the 24th. Yeah, I was trying to remember if I had anything more to add to that, but no, that's pretty much it.
That's going to be a busy wrestling weekend with SmackDown, Saturday night's main event, Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing.
Consecutive days there.
Doble or nada. Hey, dude, you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. You know what I miss, Larson? I miss watching wrestling with you, side by side. All in. Do you want to come over here and watch it on my big screen in my office?
Sure, we can do that.
Oh, look, I thought I would have to do a little bit more convincing. We can get like a pizza or something?
Well, I can't have cheese on my pizza, so I have to get a cheeseless pizza.
I'll tell those people at Winco, half cheese, no way. How about that?
Sounds good. I'm fine with anything else on there, just no cheese.
We'll figure it out. We'll get some Del Taco. I don't know. We'll get something else. All good.
No, I got some deli yesterday. I was underwhelmed.
Yeah. I thought you were just saying that because you didn't get any from me.
Well, I asked if you wanted something, and you said no.
Yeah, I didn't.
And so I just got that. I wasn't sure what I was going to get on the way to your house yesterday. And I was like, it's on the way. Let's do it. And
yeah,
it's underwhelming.
What did you get?
This is one of the chicken guacamole burritos.
Oh, you strayed from the chicken soft tacos.
Yeah, I wish they'd bring back the Cali burrito there, because that was usually pretty
They
good.
got rid of the Cali burrito?
They have one now with bacon in it and cheese, but it's too much.
These fucking tariffs, man. Anyways, so Rhea and Io.
I mean, it has been there for a while. I don't think it has anything to do with any tariffs.
Oh, no, Larson. Are you defending the tariffs?
I am the furthest thing from a tariff apologist or defender. But
Somebody tariff Larson.
I'm just looking at the timeline, and it was months ago.
Larson now costs
Years
30%
ago,
more.
They got rid of that burrito. So.
We're going to get ourselves. I'm getting us in trouble, Larson. Let's move on here. So Rhea Ripley and Io Sky face Roxanne and Julia in the main event. Earlier, they had a really killer promo. It always cracks me up when you go to main roster. You get the really nice lens. You get the 24 frames, the really nice camera. So we have one of these pre-filmed vignettes here with Julia and Roxanne. Perez says, "Tonight, the Prodigy and the Beautiful Madness take on the Genius of the Sky and Rhea Ripley. We made it clear this division isn't safe anymore. They're strong, but we're hungry. We didn't come here to wait our turn. That means we're going after the two at the top. Io, Rhea, we're here to make history. We don't care about yours. You're looking at the future of this industry, and the future starts tonight." So then we had an Io Sky video package. She says, "I showed Roxanne respect, but all she and Julia proved is that as talented as they are, they don't deserve respect. Tonight, you both learned the same lesson Bianca and Rhea did. Nobody can stop me in this division. Nobody will ever take this championship from Io Sky." And we had that match. It was a killer match. It was just the end was a little bit confusing. Not confusing, but when Io ran over. Because, like, number one, what was, the Razor's Edge that Rhea gave to Roxanne. Yeah. Like Roxanne did something to her. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was stiff.
That was rough.
Yeah, it was. It was. But, yeah, the finish, so Rhea hits Roxanne with a kick to the head. So then Julia knees Rhea to the face. as Io hits a backbreaker. Io's on the apron, so she heads up. Rhea tags herself in. Io looks for a dive, lands on her feet, and then Roxanne actually takes out Julia after Rhea shoves her into a crossbody. That was a really inventive spot.
Yeah.
So then Rhea headbutts Julia, follows with a riptide. But while that's happening, Io runs over and just kind of lays on top of Roxanne so she couldn't interfere in anything.
Roxanne was a sack of potatoes, though. She was just laying there doing a whole lot of nothing.
She was laying there, face down, kind of with her hands by her face like that.
And I was
Io just laid on top of her.
I was like, oh my God, is she actually messed up? Because you thought she'd like start stirring or something to make the... So, yeah. But it was a pretty dominant finish there for Rhea and Io. So I get the feeling like this rivalry's done with, right?
Because Roxanne and Julia lost the tag match in NXT.
Uh-huh.
It was Io and Jordan Grace teamed up against
them.
That's
right, yeah. Yeah.
And now they've lost the tag match on main roster, so I don't know where it goes from here.
Yeah. Seems like they're just gonna be done. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know if they're gonna split them up, split brands, or if they're gonna maybe feud with each other. But that's weird because they're both bad guys, unless they're gonna make Julia a good guy. Roxanne works so much better as a bad guy.
Yeah, and she'd been seen talking with Finn a couple times in the background of shots.
Oh yeah, that's right. Since we're on the topic of Roxanne, she was seen talking to Finn. What do you make of that? Where do you think that's going to go? And how would that lead to Finn equaling win?
Well, I certainly hope Roxanne's not heeding any advice that Finn is providing per se, because as we've seen so far this year, the sample size is pretty large. 2025 Finn equals pin.
Well, his good friend won the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I understand.
So maybe he can give good advice. He just can't heed his own advice.
I don't know. I haven't really seen him give any good advice this year.
Oh,
I mean, his advice has been throughout the year, listen to me and we'll get the win. And the exact opposite has happened continually.
All right. So what's he telling Roxanne? Is she going to join the Judgment Day?
No, I would suspect this is more a situation when Finn leaves Judgment Day. He's going to have his own faction maybe to battle Judgment Day.
Ooh. Who would be in that faction besides Roxanne Perez?
Maybe Roxanne, obviously.
So, okay, let's do a one-to-one thing here. He has Roxanne to counter Liv. Who does he get to counter Raquel Rodriguez?
I guess it could be Julia. Bring them in together. Or...
Well, Raquel is like taller. What if it's
Yeah, I know.
What if it's Lash Legend?
Okay. So then, obviously, Finn is to counter Dom. So we need two other members to counter JD and Carlito.
All right. Who's going to counter Carlito? He's an older dude. Kind of doesn't do a whole lot. All you really need the guy for, jump up on the apron.
Yeah.
And then get punched off the apron. And eat a nasty spear from Braun Breaker.
Is there any other veteran they can bring in to fill that role?
All the really old guys are with AEW right now.
I was gonna say Good Brothers, but they just got.
Man, you know what? I will say this: did you happen to catch their in-ring intros in New Japan? Their match back. There are certain acts that just come off so much cooler in New Japan. Because they had on like this ridiculous outfit, like they each had these just super duper versions of what they already wear, and they just looked like the coolest thing imaginable. And they never had that in WWE.
No,
they never had that there.
No,
some things in New Japan just makes really cool.
Yeah.
Too bad they're like in a forever rebuilding phase right now.
I know.
As soon as they build people up, they just split.
Yeah,
they just leave.
Yeah,
Anyways. So yeah, I don't know. R-Truth as a Carly. No, people like R-Truth. Was another veteran, another old guy.
I'm trying to think of somebody that maybe has some history with Finn, but I don't know who. Who he should bring in is Motor City Machine Guns.
Motor City Machine Guns. Thematically, they kind of sort of fit.
Yeah, it works in that respect. I don't know if they have any history together, but it give them something from a character perspective, maybe, to do. Because right now, they're just Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then JD. Small guy, bumps a lot. Carmelo Hayes.
Well, no, I mean, like
with the Dre.
Motor City Machine Guns would.
Oh, they're Carlito and JD.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that really didn't. That's a terrible faction that we just put together. None of them, I don't think, would have chemistry at all.
Probably not.
No. Anyways, let's talk about Becky Lynch now.
Let's talk about Becky Lynch. So she has a promo in the ring. She's sitting on the top rope. She says, I wasn't beaten on Saturday. Nope. Lyra was beaten on Saturday. Don't believe me? Well, one of us was taken to the hospital, and one of us went to their bus, had a shower, a shot of tequila, and basked in their brilliance. Even after everything Lyra has done to me, attacking my character, I still made her the best version of herself, gave her the best match of her career, and she has never mattered more than right now, and it's not even close. But when the bell rang after the match, I didn't hear defeat. I heard an alarm ringing, and I realized how much I was manipulated, not only by Lyra, but by all of you. Do you want to know why I walked away? You asked me to. Last time I won the title, I heard the reaction, saw your comments, so I stepped away. But if I'm not here to win titles, why am I here? But I'm for the people, anything you want. I have to thank you for my career. You carried me into the main event. We were in this together, but something happened. I won. You couldn't see yourself in me anymore because you saw success and you know only failure. When I was out, one of my friends asked if I missed it. I missed being in the ring, but I liked being away. I didn't have to listen to you tell your lies, same lies from a person who I helped get into this business. From now on, I am whoever you say I am. Selfish? That's me. Greedy? Cutthroat? Yes, I am. All those in the back who are happy I was gone because the fire went out, they'll learn what it's like to be held down by the man.
I like this. I think this is a much more... She understands her sort of heel motivations a lot more now than she did the first time she went heel. And I think it just makes her much more interesting. She has a point to what she's saying, and I like it.
I do like the aspect of so many talents who've seemingly accomplished everything. Then it's like, well, what are they going to do kind of outside titles because, they've done all that already. And I like that she literally said, if I'm not here to win titles, what am I even here for?
Yeah.
That's the whole goal of being in any sort of competitive, whether it's scripted competitive activity or not, is to reach the very top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We talked about this a little bit already, but of course, Gunther is looking past Logan. Gunther and Jey Uso both looking past Logan Paul for this World Heavyweight.
I mean, even WWE seemingly is looking past Logan
That's
Paul.
kind of the more important thing, isn't it? Yeah. So Jay comes out, does the yeet thing, does a yeet encore, and then he claims, or he says, hey, the World Heavyweight Champion, main event Jey Uso, is now in your city. He says, got a lot going on, big target on my back. Let me get something off my big chest. Logan Paul, you're talking out the side of your neck. Oos, say I got a glass jaw. He keeps ducking me, sneaking me. Look, though, at Saturday night's main event, it's me and you, Oos. And we don't get Logan Paul. We get Gunther coming out. He heads to the ring, gets a mic. He says, the unimaginable came true. Jey Uso, world champion. This is the first time since we met for that. And Jay says, oh, you mean when I made you tap out? Gunther says, see, I know what it's like to be champion. I understand. 80% of the time I've been champion. He says, there's a lot of pressure on you. I could feel it. This is not natural for you. He says, unlike me, you're not a natural champion. He says, since you like to run your mouth, I'm surprised you didn't spread the news, so let the pleasure be mine. The winner out of you and Logan will have the honor to hand over that title to its rightful owner, the ring general Gunther. 1 month from now, June 9th, I will challenge the winner of you or Logan for that title, and I really do hope it's you. I would love nothing more than to shut you and all these people up for good. Love nothing more than to get in here and remind you where your place is. And Jay says, remind me of my place. He takes off his heat sunglasses. He says, I'm in my place. I run this place. I'm going to handle the YouTuber. And then me and you are going to run it back. And I walk out the same way I walked out of WrestleMania. 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. So, given that they kind of did something similar with his Intercontinental Championship run, which was very short, is it possible they're going to basically kind of use Jey Uso for these big moments where it's like, hey, he gets his thing. And then it's like, well, we don't really see a lot of longevity in a title run or a necessity for a long title run. So let's just give him the big moment at WrestleMania. And then he loses it maybe by a Money in the Bank cash-in. I mean, it is the Monday following.
Yeah, I feels like the Money in the Bank cash-in, or at least teasing of such, seems more plausible than Gunther just winning it back.
I agree.
So I don't know if it's a situation where whoever wins Money in the Bank comes in and kind of spoils the match, lays everybody out, tries to cash in. Only say it's Seth. He has Money in the Bank. He lays out Gunther. He lays out Jay. He's going to cash in only to get his cash in thwarted by CM Punk.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Not a failed cash in, but he's about to officially cash in. Punk comes out and attacks him. Something like that.
That could be hot. Because then if Cena does take on Punk, you can continue that with Seth Rollins trying to cash in on that and ruining Punk's thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot they can do with that. And maybe Jay keeps it until SummerSlam. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the idea is with Triple H and Jey Uso, hey, you know what? These huge moments are great. You're always going to be hot. If we screw you over, you're still pretty protected. He can lose the title and we can put it into a story that, you know, that needs the title to move on, because seemingly, dude, there's not a lot out there for Jey Uso to do as world champion. Logan Paul? Gunther again?
I know. I mean, it just seems inevitable. There's going to be a point where Seth gets it off him.
Raw is one huge mid-card.
Yeah.
Notice that? It's like you got Punk and Rollins there. They're sort of above title. And they feel above that title because the title feels like a mid-card title. But you got Braun Breaker, Logan Paul. You got who's the Intercontinental Champion right now?
Dom.
Yeah, Dom, Penta, Finn, obviously, Chad Gable. They're all mid-carders.
Yeah.
It's all just one big mid, and nobody's really being elevated.
No. No, not really at all. Speaking of Finn, he was tasked to take care of Dominic's AJ problem. So before his match against AJ Styles, we get Judgment Day backstage. Dom's walking in. He's talking about how he got a call from Liv, but it was night where she was and daytime where he was, or vice versa.
This was a funny little bit.
And he was like, he couldn't understand. It was morning where she was and nighttime where he was. And JD's like, Dom, this can't be the first time you've heard of time zones. So Dom and Finn chat. Dom says, so at Backlash, you had a chance to take a shot, and you hesitated. It almost cost me the match. I would have lost if it was not for El Grande Americano. And Finn says, whoa, you're getting paranoid like Damian and Rhea were when they were champions. And it didn't go smoothly, but hey, it worked out. And tonight, I take care of AJ Styles. And so he leaves. And then they use the light above them and a skull to try to teach Dom about how, you know, the Earth rotation and whatnot leads to day and night in various parts.
He says, look, Dom, here's Liv, here's us. And he starts doing this. And then Dom just says, that's Liv?
Yeah.
He's funny. Anyways, so we had Finn Balor trying to take care of the AJ Styles problem in a match. This might be a hot take, but this match was kind of balls, wasn't it?
I didn't think it was balls. It just didn't have a whole lot of urgency to it.
Yeah, it was kind of, it was beneath certainly what AJ Styles, I think, is capable of.
Well, I think in some respects it's beneath what Finn Balor is capable of, too.
I did appreciate that Michael Cole said they were both former leaders of Bullet Club.
Yeah.
That was cool. You know, factually
although
accurate.
AJ's always contested that he's like, I was never leader of Bullet Club.
Oh, that's BS. Who was leader then? Carl Anderson?
That's probably what he would say.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Crowd gave this is an awesome chant. So I guess that's something.
I thought it was a perfectly decent middle of Raw mid-card match.
Man, I thought this was a snoozer. That abdominal stretch seemed like it took hours.
It was maybe 45 seconds, Steve. Because you said that, so I was really paying attention to. I was expecting, like, you know how Cena and Orton were reversing sleepers back and forth. I thought we were gonna get extended stretch of abdominal stretches. Maybe someone reaching out, holding on the rope. And it was just
I didn't say they were
stretch.
trying to reinvent the abdominal stretch. I just said that, man, there's an abdominal stretch here. It's taking way too long.
I thought it was all right. Not a great match, but not terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of Bordeaux City for me. But
anyway, AJ gets the win.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, like, you know, super seamless Styles Clash. That was cool.
Finn had his head down a little bit.
Gotta be careful with that because it was like a snap Styles Clash.
It was super quick.
That muscle memory is probably hard to overcome, dude.
I know.
Everything else he touches.
Because when he gets you up for the whole thing, you got time to.
Oh, everybody! Yeah, I love seeing everybody.
Everybody looks down at the mat. Get their head up. Look down at the mat.
Yeah. Anyway, standard Judgment Day attempts at interference here, but none of it mattered. AJ Styles
Penta fended off Carlito and JD.
Blue Penta also took on Chad Gable in the place of El Grande Americano tonight. They were doing a running gimmick where Pat McAfee kept on claiming that they were different people. Michael Cole claiming Chad Gable. You know, for a guy who claims he's unbiased, we had Michael Cole talking so much shit to the New Day at commentary. Michael Cole talking so much shit about Chad Gable and El Grande Americano. This guy's like the furthest thing from unbiased, Larson.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
Penta got the win here, of course. Of course, these guys put on a hell of a match.
Yeah, this was a really good match.
Yeah, this was good stuff. But this was Gable who lost, not El Grande Americano. So they'll probably make that distinction. What do you think about this Rusev promo? I really like.
Let's talk about the finish of this because the finish was super cool. Where Gable's looking for a superplex, and Penta pushes him off. So Gable does the backflip off the top. And then Penta follows basically a Panama Sunrise to get the win.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. That was really inventive.
Cool. Yeah.
This Rusev promo, I liked it a lot.
It's good stuff, huh?
It is good stuff. It seems like either he's writing his own material or whoever's writing his material watched his Redeemer character in AEW.
That could be.
So this is all... I will say this. I thought the Redeemer promos in AEW were filmed better.
Is it because they kept it very simple? They did the most of those Redeemer promos are like one shot. It was like one static. Yeah. They just put it on sticks. It's right there.
But they were usually lit really well and dramatic, and the lighting was kind of flat. It seemed like
you thought so?
Yeah.
I thought it was lit all right. I just think that
it wasn't lit poorly, but it just, I don't know, it didn't have the gravitas to it visually that the Redeemer stuff did.
Didn't the Redeemer stuff have candles too?
Sometimes.
Yeah. I don't think there were any candles in this one.
No, it was just lit backstage.
That could be it.
So he says, I didn't want to do that to Otis. I didn't want to do any of this. All I want is to go home and be rich.
Be nice.
But I was programmed by lesser people to, and I can't leave my brothers until we all wake up. Do you think these people care that you're missing your family? Or your choice is to hurt or be hurt? Tozawa stepped up to me last week as the crowd cheered in awe and drove him into the flat line. Yet you seek their approval. You let the sheep control the wolves. Get off your knees, men! Their cheers are like stones to a blade, but I see right through them. It's why they mock me by chanting my name. I will reclaim my throne, and when my job is done, my brothers, it will hurt me to hurt you. But I would rather you die at my hands, or by my hands, than fall into the abyss.
It was good stuff.
It is good stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff. So yeah, who do you think is going to take on next, dude?
Well, probably Tozawa.
Well, I mean, after all that business.
Like, who's his first real feud going to be?
Yeah. Should be Sheamus. Sheamus gave propers to Tozawa. I could see Rusev beating the shit out of Tozawa, maybe taking out Otis and going back to Tozawa, and then Sheamus makes a save.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That'd be a hell of a couple matches there.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't Sheamus in that faction?
League of Nations?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was him, Wade, Rusev and
Del
Alberto! Telling you, man, they're all under contract now. Get the band back together. Get the band back together.
So you're talking about, Pierce is backstage talking to Alpha Academy, and Tozawa's trying to get a match against Rusev, and Pierce is like, no. So Sheamus walks in and gives Tozawa some respect, hypes him up a bit, and he says, I was dying to get back, says this to Pierce, and to be honest, I need to shake off that ring rust. I want to keep that going. How about next week, me versus Grayson Waller? And Pierce makes it official. So in 3 weeks' time, we're going to get Sheamus versus Theory, and now Sheamus versus Waller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was supposed to be last week.
Mm-hmm.
We also had War Raiders at American Made. I watched this turn the sound up because the New Day were once again at commentary, and once again, they're flipping hilarious, man.
They are.
Yeah, they're really great.
American Made gets the win here.
They did, yeah, because of the New Day.
Yeah.
They left commentary. Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry. So let's see here. Ivar goes at the top rope, and Woods distracts Eric and the ref, and so Kofi pushes Ivar off the top, and then American Made hit Ivar with the Brutus Ball to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
And New Day's thesis on commentary is, War Raiders, they've been around, they've won plenty of titles. They don't need any more opportunities. Teams like American Made need the opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
And they're about creating up those opportunities.
I agree with the New Day in this situation. I think they are trying to help the future of the company. They're great.
You don't think it's maybe a situation where the match against War Raiders is really tough and they don't want to do that again? They think it's easier to wrestle American Made?
No, man, no.
Okay.
No. You see American Made, they just won. They're pretty tough themselves.
They did.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both, look at their bona fides, American Made.
A lot of bona fides.
Collegiate Wrestling All-Americans.
Division 1.
Yeah. They ever win the tag titles in NXT?
I don't think so, bro.
All right. So
maybe they did. I don't know.
Their bona fides end at the collegiate level, huh?
Maybe. It'd be weird if they didn't win the tag titles. Remember, I thought Julius Creed was going to be like a huge singles guy.
Oh, you thought he's going to be a massive. Yeah, they were one-time tag champions. Won the
they
Dusty
were one
Classic.
time?
Yeah.
All right.
2022, they won the Dusty Cup.
All right.
So there you go. And that was Raw.
And that is your Raw. Yeah. Would you like to answer some questions?
Most certainly. Let's answer some questions. Let us start with Nate Cruz.
Let us begin.
We'll wait on that one.
Wait on that one.
We talked about that.
Oh, wow. Big Dumb Rocket says, who wins War Games match between Chase U and the Spirit Squad? Prime U was what? Duke, Ridge, when they're all on the same page. Duke, Ridge, Chase.
Thea Hale.
Is she going to be in that match?
Oh, I don't know. Who's against? Spirit Squad?
Spirit Squad. There's like 5 of them dudes.
So it's Kenny Dykstra.
Chase U needs another guy. What's that guy named? Riley
Osborne. Yeah. Or the dude. There was a dude before him that got released.
Oh, Bodie something.
Yeah, the blonde dude.
Yeah, that guy. Spirit Squad had Dolph, right?
Yeah.
Was his brother
Kenny
in
Dykstra.
there? Was the other
Maybe.
Nemeth in there?
I don't remember.
Kenny Dykstra was in it.
Yeah, that's the only 2 members I remember being in there.
Oh, wow. This is interesting. Static
sure.
G Medina says, for the longest time, I thought Triple H's recovery montage was set to Creed, but it was Beautiful Day by U2.
Mm-hmm.
Made me want to ask, are there any other Mandela effects in wrestling?
Oh, yeah.
So that's just static misremembering stuff, because I remembered it was Beautiful Day.
Yeah,
That being said,
too.
one of them was, I think you and I both thought Undertaker versus Undertaker had a fake Undertaker mask, but that didn't line up.
One of them did during the feud.
I thought that fake Undertaker mask was a different time.
Or maybe it was.
I thought there was a mask one. Am I tripping about that? Images.
Are you having a Mandela effect about a Mandela effect?
Undertaker versus Undertaker. I don't think anybody had the face protector. I think that was
during the match.
During the match or during the feud.
And why did Undertaker have a mask for part of it? For part of his career, I mean.
Oh, because I think
he had like a broken orbital bone.
Because yeah. He actually had like an injury.
Sebastian Garcia here asked, do you think we'll ever get a Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage type reunion between Dom and Rhea?
Ozzy says the face protector is after when Mabel broke his orbital. But I swear on the SummerSlam box art.
I thought so too, yeah.
Right, yeah. Anyways, what now?
Are we ever get a reunion between Dom and Rhea?
Like a reunion where they're together? No.
A reunion where they kind of make good? Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
Maybe. This is a great question from Alex Foster. What accomplishments of yours would Charlie Dempsey try to take as his own, like he's doing with Miles Bourne?
200,000 subscriber celebration.
Wow.
What other accomplishments have we had?
I don't know. My life's been pretty bereft of accomplishments. So.
I looked it up today, dude.
What?
If you and I could raise $10 million,
Easy.
we could get a big 3 team.
I know. I've seen that too.
Yeah. Right here in Sacramento. Wouldn't that be killer?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. We need to find a way to get, I feel like you probably need like 50 million in order to like properly do that.
I would think so. 10 million is just the franchise fee, right? But then you have to like pay the players and
You have to do everything.
get a venue and marketing and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would need someone who actually has experience doing that kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, you have to hire people.
Yeah.
We'll just be the idiot owners sitting, courtside sucking down glizzies.
Yeah.
Who would be on our team?
ISO Joe.
Oh, man, he's already a legend for the whatever big 3 team. And on top of that, he's like a regular guest on the Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco show.
Oh, yeah.
They were talking about Tatum's injury today.
I mean, he's like a 3-time MVP.
I feel like we need 10 million more to get him.
Maybe.
Yeah. Jason Williams.
You think Peja could still play?
Oh, yeah. That 3-point, that ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Just have him stand on the outside, yeah.
Without Brad Miller.
Sure. Yeah.
About Kevin Martin.
That's what we got to do is just locals.
That's what I'm thinking.
I guarantee you Kevin Martin still ball. He probably still balls in Europe or something.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Timor here says, if Evolution does take place the same weekend as Saturday night's main event, do you think that there will be no women's matches on the Saturday? It depends on what day of the... So if it's the weekend in Atlanta, July 12th?
Mm-hmm.
There'll obviously be a SmackDown that Friday, Saturday night's main event. Saturday, would Evolution be on Sunday then?
Yeah, it makes sense. Because they're programming it against, it's July 12th. They're programming it against All In.
Isn't All In the 19th or the 18th?
Shoot, man, I don't know. AW All In. Let's see here. Allow.
Oh, it is the 12th. Okay.
The 12th. Yeah, that's the PW Insider.
So are they going
said
to
it's gonna
do
be the same
Evolution and Saturday night's main event the same day, like they're doing with Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank? They do Evolution, starting to get 2 o'clock, go 2 to 5, and then at 5 have, gosh, that'd all be in the
Certainly
same
seems
venue.
like
maybe.
it, huh? Kind of feels like it.
Yeah. So I don't know.
They better get AEW. Better get the Costco guys.
Yeah.
To combat WWE.
I'll say this: maybe there's a match if Evolution happens before Saturday night's main event, or vice versa. There might be a match on the first show that dictates something that happens on the second show.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be cool. I'd like that.
Colby asked, who will be more relevant this time next year, Rusev or Alistair?
My gut says Alistair.
I feel like thus far, small sample size, WWE Creative has a pretty good grasp on Rusev's character. And I think that's kind of the key to getting involved in stuff, is how well not just the performer, but the creative understands the character.
We didn't really did you watch SmackDown on Friday?
Yeah.
Did you watch Alistair's promo?
Yeah. We did a review of SmackDown. We talked about it on...
We didn't talk about Alistair's promo, though.
Yeah, no, I forgot to make note of that. But yeah.
Well, there was nothing to note about. I mean, that's the thing, is that I think you're right in that at least Rusev has a theme. He has a thesis. Mm-hmm. Alistair is kind of just more nebulous.
He's dude stuck in a room still, kind of.
Well, he gets out of the room for matches.
Except he's having matches. That's the difference. Nick Cruz says, does it feel like it's too early for Dom to turn full face?
Don't turn him anything. Just have him do what he's doing.
Yep.
Gorilla Mon says, since we saw Roxy and Julia seemingly break their team up after Raw, which of those two would you hypothetically rather see join Seth's group? Julia. Because Roxanne's got to join Finn's group.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Diehard Homer here says, came back to Patreon after a few years. Is your ad-free podcast still able to be imported to Spotify? So I do still upload the ad-free version to Patreon, and you can set up an RSS feed for that to get, show up in your podcast apps or whatever. I don't even know how that works.
All right. Go ahead.
But I don't know if you can do that through Spotify.
For the longest time, you could not do that in Spotify. That was the one caveat.
Yeah.
If that's changed over the past year, I have no idea because I haven't looked into it. But I know for the longest time, you could not import a custom RSS feed into Spotify.
There you go. Sammy Garcia says, so last night Bullet Club was mentioned. If Triple H were to start a new Bullet Club,
oh yeah,
who would you want in it from the current roster? So Sammy suggests AJ or Finn to be the leader. Tag team, you got Motor City Machine Guns. Midcard, Carmelo or Ilya. And then from the women's division, either Kyrie or Bayley.
All right, well, let me ask this. Since Bullet Club originally was supposed to be Gaijin, which is foreign dudes and gals coming over, well, dudes, would this Bullet Club be only for Japanese wrestlers?
It's an interesting question. I don't know.
This would be my Bullet Club. I just throw out what I just said. AJ and Shinsuke.
Okay.
They'd be sort of like the co-heads of it.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Theory. He ditches
All right.
Waller. And then I would say Julia seems like she'd be killer in Bullet Club. And then I need a big man.
Amos.
Yes.
Yeah, I like Amos. Amos is definitely in.
That'd be sick.
Finn. I'll go with Finn rather than AJ.
Okay.
So Finn, Amos, Fraxium.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like the idea of Carmelo.
Carmelo would be good in Bullet Club.
Yeah, I think so too.
Ignacio has another film question for us.
Awesome.
What's a better film, Touch of Evil or The Shining?
Gosh. I would say Touch of Evil is a more enjoyable movie. Technically, they're both spectacular.
I know which one took more time to make, The Shining.
Yeah, The Shining.
I don't think Orson Welles was doing 92 takes
No, I
of
don't think
certain
he probably
things.
afforded much time or as much money as Kubrick was.
I mean, Ignacio, I'll say this, Ignacio. You got to be very careful about the word better.
Yeah.
Because what you just said is totally true for Larson. And I actually agree with that. But a lot of people swear by The Shining has some fucking hardcore fans.
Yeah.
There is some people out there who love The Shining to death. And I love The Shining too.
I think it's a great movie too. Yeah.
But Touch of Evil to me is just kind of crazy. That's a fucking cool movie. And I'm a huge Orson Welles fan.
Yeah, same.
So from now on, maybe if you're doing this whole film school via Stephen Larson Questions on a Pro Wrestling Podcast deal, maybe consider, instead of questions that are so subjective, ask them in a more technical manner.
I think if it's a situation where you're asking about two movies that are kind of similar in terms of genre or maybe theme, there's got to be some unifying factor between them, I feel like. But The Shining and Touch of Evil are such different movies.
They're very different movies. Yeah.
Very different movies that it's hard to do like a real comparison other than like, well, I kind of prefer this one than that one. But it's obviously a totally subjective thing.
Yeah.
MHJ is here, says, if the Wyatt Six had continued to be featured on TV, do you think Bo would have been a smaller feud for Cena, like Truth?
That'd have been a really interesting one. I don't know if they would have ever done that, but that'd have been if the Wyatt Six had been a success, then I think that certainly that'd be a possibility.
Yeah.
Given Cena and Bray's history, I think that they could have been some really interesting stuff there.
Yeah, there could have been. This is a great question from Jonah. Name your top 3 '90s R&B songs.
All right.
I'm sure this will be on your list. It's on mine. It's Return of the Mac. What a great song.
Yeah, no, that's terrific.
Pony.
Yeah,
Genuine's Pony. It's a fantastic song.
Yeah.
Boys to Men, Motown Philly.
I mean, those are all killed. There's kind of no wrong answer with a lot of these. So I dug up 3 different ones. I've got Shy's If I Ever Fall in Love. Mine are like a little bit on the slower side.
Okay.
H-Town's Knockin' to Boots.
That's a good one.
You know, these are all about fucking. How about this for like kind of a dark horse candidate? Color Me Bad's I Want to Sex You Up.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's about fucking.
Yeah.
I had to like sort of like refresh my my memory here because there's so many, and I'm like, wait a second, what about this one here? Yeah, there's so many good ones. Yeah, Pony's a really good one.
Yeah, Pony's a great song.
Yeah. What about Silk's Freak Me?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
It's about fucking.
It is. Yes, Curious Corduroy says Too Close by Next. That's a good one, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Sinister says, don't know if it's been asked before, but what are your thoughts on Kendrick's GNX album? It's great. I love it.
Dude, I fucking love that album.
Listen to it all the time.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's been in constant rotation since it's come out.
That and CKY. D Dead Scene says, who's the funniest or most shocking Money in the Bank winner for the men and women?
Otis.
Funniest.
Otis won again.
Yeah. Oh man. Funniest would be John Cena. That'd be hilarious if he retires the Money in the Bank briefcase.
He wins it and says, this is done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do
You got a music question. There was a good music question on the YouTube thread I saw.
Oh, you want to do? Okay, that's fine. G Bonkers, I think this is the only one I see here, says, is grunge and new metal the new dad rock?
Oh, that's not the one I saw.
I was like, that's kind of surprising that you wanted to talk about that.
Is grunge or new metal the new... I mean, there's a lot of grunge stuff that's played on classic rock radio, so yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, like, now dad rock extends back 20 more years, 30 more years now.
Mm-hmm.
Was it this one from Joe the Meme Maker? What's the first wrestler?
Oh, maybe it's in the hot takes thread. Maybe that's where it was.
You want me to dive into that?
Maybe that's where.
Oh my God, there's 93 hot takes.
We'll do that later then.
Okay, we're gonna do that one later. Good.
Disregard that.
Good. All right. Anyways, is that gonna do it for the show?
Sure.
All right, that's gonna do it for the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.